Wow.
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 It's the stream.
What?
It's Drawclass. Welcome to class. Hello.
Daytime stream. Or my lighting is out of control. I can't fix it.
Well, that's so thematic because we're talking about value.
I know.
And we've got
We're going to
two...
talk about why my camera is such a bad use of value.
You've got some nice rim lighting going on.
Yeah, but who's the focal point?
It's Yug.
Yug. So we'll discuss why I wish I could have more control over this. I have two monitors and two lamps essentially pointing at me. The sun is just so
too
bright.
Strong. Can't
so
compete.
Strong.
Hello everybody. Welcome to the
Hi,
stream.
chat.
We're just doing our little top of the stream banter.
Let people come in, I guess.
Yeah, let people come in. Give us any feedback on audio levels. I did a little test before we started to try and make sure we were at around the same volume, but we always appreciate notes, midstream notes from people. Helps us out.
Yeah. As per usual, we love just fixing things on the fly.
We love it. Yeah, people are filtering in. We've got lucky 13 people watching right now. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie. Jamie's putting out the announcement.
Knows.
They've done their duty. Excellent, excellent. Very good. It's Friday.
Yeah. Goodness.
It's Friday. It's almost the end of the month. Yeah, we did it. First month of 2021.
Yeah.
And we're
what a year.
What a year it's been. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for next year.
Yeah. Every week it's something.
It's always got to be something.
Everything happens so much.
They just keep happening. Remember when stuff wouldn't happen?
I'm very excited to talk to my brother this weekend. This will be fun for future watchers about the stock stuff.
Oh yeah.
He knows more about that than me, and I imagine if you're really into that sort of stuff, which he might be, I don't know. That would be to people who care about that what Destiel was to me. So I'm very excited to hear this talk.
Basically, what's happening is the Destiel thing again, but with stocks.
But with stocks
is my understanding.
You're at the stocks.
It's gonna be really funny for people listening to this in a month, like after everything maybe people will be like, oh wow, that was only a month ago.
We never know where we'll be, so this segment of the video is for you, future listeners.
Yeah, there are people are filtering in. We're at 20. We could probably get into it. We could probably start the class.
Shall we get a roll in?
Settle down, class.
Settle down, class. It is time to talk about color usage.
Woo!
Specifically color and value. I'll cover everything, but color, it's difficult.
Yes.
Understanding how to use color effectively can be hard, but it's super duper important. Because what colors you use and you pick not only communicate the mood and atmosphere of the piece, but it also guides the viewer's eye to where you want them to look. Because we love manipulating
art. Is
people who look at our art. Yeah, that's the fun thing about like art, especially if it's stuff that's like, you know, drawing illustration type things where you're essentially making something out of nothing, you can just do whatever you want. And you can make people look however.
Yeah.
And
you
it's
can...
like how my camera has the ugliest lighting in the world. If I were drawing this, I wouldn't have Yugi lit by the light of Jesus himself. It would be on me, so that you'd look at me and my genius sweatshirt because I'm teaching today. But yeah, especially if you're doing things with like a narrative quality to them, you want to be able to guide your viewer rather than just looking at it. Like,
right.
You're still going to do the whole thing, but if you want them to look at a specific thing, you got to know how to do that. So, as a disclaimer, this is based a lot on how I do things. I'm not a teacher. I'm doing my best. And also
that's the disclaimer for everything we do.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm trying, but there's a lot of good resources out there for like basic color theory.
For sure.
There's a lot of artists on the internet, so always good stuff to know. This is just great information to have. But also, you can use colors however you want. These are not laws.
Right.
You can do whatever you want.
All of these are rules that can be broken. Yeah. This is
but
just some helpful tips. Yeah.
But you got to know the rules to break them.
Right.
So
intentionally breaking the rules versus unintentionally breaking the rules is
because if you're doing a piece, your choices should be intentional.
Right.
It shouldn't just be, I'm putting this down because I guess this is the color that it is. It should be like, I'm putting this down because I want this to recede. I want this to pop. I want people to look at this. I don't want them to look at this. So, and, you don't always have to be thinking about these things, but chances are if you put down a color or you like color a piece and you're like, actually, this kind of slaps, there's a reason it slaps.
Yeah.
And then once you know why it slaps, you can harness that power for yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start this off with some vocabulary because as I realized after choosing this topic, I'm effectively teaching color theory. So we're going to have to talk about it, I'm afraid. But it's also so important to know. Wait,
yeah.
Let me just pop this in and pop this in.
Wow.
So, here's your 3 things that you got to know about your colors. You got hue, and I don't know how else to explain this other than it's the color itself. It's blue, it's red, it's green. It's the hue.
It's the hue.
It's the color. And then you got your saturation, which is the purity or the intensity of the color.
Mm-hmm.
So you got this real pure red over here, and then you can that's 100% saturation. If you desaturate it, it becomes less pure. It turns gray. I probably should have popped this up when I said hue, but the range on hue is straight up just the rainbow.
Yeah.
And then on saturation, you're going from the pure color itself to like a gray.
Right.
So, and then value, which I love value. It is how light or dark the color is. Yeah. So the range on that is black to white.
And these are all sliders in the hue saturation adjustments.
Yeah. So here's a fun trick. If you're like me and you always use the basic Photoshop color picker, this is your hue.
Yep.
This one on the side here. For value, it's along this left side over here. So going up and down in this box will go up and down in the value, light at the top, dark at the bottom. And for saturation, it works on a weird diagonal. So this top side and then this right side, those are your 100% saturated colors. So going across the box will be desaturating the colors.
Yes.
So, yeah. So these are your things you got to know. We'll really expand on hue in a second, but just because I don't think that much about saturation, so we'll kind of touch on it here real quick. Because unless you're doing it intentionally, you're probably not going to be using a lot of very saturated colors if you
Right.
want it to kind of look realistic. There aren't a lot of like really pure intense colors if you're doing like, you know, a still life or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, so unless that's your stylistic choice, you're probably going to stay, you know, like
In the
more in the center of this box.
the gray range, yeah.
Yeah. And you can expound upon that later.
The way I learned it
And
in the one digital coloring class I learned is like typically if you're going to have something very saturated, like you'll have usually maximum one very, you don't have to have any, but like if you want, like have one very
yeah.
saturated thing and then everything else should be like in the grays zone.
Like again, this is it's just a useful tool for later, where if we want like something to be something to be looked at, like maybe it'll have a really saturated color, but like all of these things work in tangents, so it's not the only way to like draw an eye to something.
Right.
But it's, especially in digital work, it's so easy to get caught up in like, I love my saturated colors. Like I know when I edit pictures, when I edit my gosh darn selfies, I love adding saturation where it shouldn't be, but it ends up oftentimes looking very unnatural.
Right.
So yeah, it's up to you if you want to use saturated colors. They look nice, but it's a stylistic choice.
Right.
So and then when it comes to value, I just love value. We'll also get more into value in a sec.
Value it?
I value. But we love value. It's so important for establishing depth in a drawing. And I feel like a common critique I have of a lot of drawings that I just see is maybe they have a very crushed range of value. Like it's not a big range. It's not this full range of value. So it, because I think it's really easy when you're using color to focus mostly on like the hue and even the saturation, and not think that much about the value. So you know, and that's valid. It's hard to think of all these things at once and super intentionally, but it's very sexy to have a full range of value. Don't be shy. So we love value. So these are the main three vocabs when it comes to talking to color. So now we're gonna visit a friend.
Oh, the wheel.
Disclaimer, I just picked a wheel that was big and easy to steal off of Google. This is a very simplified color wheel. It's going to be incredibly simplified to look at in every example I'm about to show you. Not my ideal color wheel, but it gets the job done.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about some colors. This is the hue talk, by the way. These are your hues, but we have to touch upon warm and cool colors. So your warm colors are going to be some purples, red, orange, yellow, and some greens. And warm colors.
It's a cold day. I'm just going to warm my hands up against those.
I wish. It's so cold today.
Yeah. Ooh, those colors warm me up.
I could use more warm colors. I guess I'm a warm color since I'm the dustiest red in my gosh darn camera. But yeah, that's why it looks so bad. So
it's on purpose. It's intentional. It's for teaching. It's as an example.
Yeah,
everything is intentional. Yeah.
But yeah, so just to backtrack a little, because I wrote my notes like an absolute maniac. It's warm and cool colors. They affect your mood. So I got me a man's. Where is he? There he is.
Oh, look at him.
Ah. So we got my man's here, and let's make him a nice warm color piece.
Ooh.
So here's your nice warm color piece.
So
it has a mood to it.
Yeah.
Warm colors literally feel warm. It has a warmth to it. But they can also feel kind of lively, a little too lively, like maybe a little dangerous. Why stop signs are red. Look, I don't know why meanings of colors are so ingrained, like in our psyche and in our culture and in our brains. They just are.
I remember in like one of my marketing classes I took in college, there's some like psychological study that like reds and yellows make people hungry, and they're like, that's why they're so common in fast food
wow
designs.
Yeah, like there's just moods and thoughts built into colors, so that's just something to keep in mind. So red is even a little spicy. It's a spicy color. I don't know, it's not that blue can't be sultry, but there's just something about red.
Yeah. Gets the blood pumping.
Yeah. And then we got our nice little cool colors. It's basically anything blue adjacent. Greens, indigo, purple. And these colors naturally recede, especially set against the warms. So, and these also carry a very certain mood to them. It's very calm. It's kind of, it's like a bit dark and moody. It's kind of melancholy, tired. So,
I mean, sleepy color.
Yeah, it's a very sleepy color. So if we
unless it's Sonic,
put this on there, it changes the mood of the drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sonic shouldn't be blue.
That was a mistake. Sega?
Yeah.
You fucked it.
Sega, can you redo Sonic? I have some critiques.
I have some notes
on yeah, Sonic. I think it's stupid. So, but yeah, it kind of changes the mood. It makes it feel like nighttime, sleepy, maybe a little sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, color affect mood. These warms and cools very affect mood big. So, and something worth noting is that I put purple and green on both warm and cool. And it's because the purple and green are essentially cool colors, but if they're more red or yellow, like they can kind of become warm or fall into that range.
Yeah.
So like this kind of pinkish, because pink is just light red or purple, but this more magenta-y, pinkish purple, I'd argue that's a warmer color than an actual cool purple. And same with this yellowish green. So yeah, and it's just important to know because you can use these to create depth in your picture and to push and pull, because warms pop and cools recede. And as a side note, and I didn't make a visual for this, but grays can be warm and cool too.
Yeah.
Like this is a cool gray because it has this blue undertone. And this is a warm gray because it has that warm undertone. And then if they're completely desaturated, they're neutral.
Is a warm gray a brown?
I mean, technically, like a cool gray is a blue, and then it's essentially whatever you stick it as. So yeah, like a brownish khaki. Like it's gray, it's desaturated enough that it's gray, but it still has that color undertone that it's warm or cool. So yeah. And warms and cools naturally contrast. Another useful tool for later, but just to show, boom. it looks nice. It looks nice. We love it.
We love it. I love it.
We love when they naturally contrast and look nice like that.
Yeah.
And it's especially nice because the blue recedes. So this is the part that's like sticking out and it just looks nice. It creates that nice depth. And yeah, so we love some warm and cool contrast. And they just naturally look good together.
And I have a question.
Yes.
In that example, are the warms also more saturated than the cools, or does it just look that way because the warms are naturally like popping?
What is it?
Huh.
They're actually very soft.
Wow. Well, there you go.
They just, yeah, like they just pop naturally. So
That's
even just
awesome.
having this wash of orange will push it forward, where having this blue pushes it back.
Wow.
It's just how we perceive depth.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And warm.
So got it. All right. So, real quick, I'm going to talk about some color schemes. We love some color schemes because there's nothing wrong with using every single color however much you want. Yeah. It's great. In fact, I love having free will. But if you have like a set color scheme, then it just, your image, your piece will just be like more harmonized, and it just looks nice.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different kind of color schemes. I'm only going to be talking about ones that I think are really common and easy to understand, because I didn't want to get into more of the complicated ones because they confuse me too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so the first one is monochromatic. It's just you use one color.
Karina,
it's like grayscale.
These slides, Karina. You did so much prep for this. This rules.
I'm a visual learner. I think it's so easy to pick these things up. I tried writing talking points, but it's so much easier to just have the visuals.
I love that.
Both to learn and to teach. It's hard, especially for color theory. I was like, why did I choose this? But I love color. I love talking about using color.
This is great. I'm having a blast.
But yeah. So monochromatic, you just use one color. It's essentially grayscale, but you also have like saturation on.
Yeah.
So
if you look at some old college humor articles that Caldwell and I illustrated, this was a popular technique we used to save time.
Because you don't have to think that much about like the colors themselves. It's just the saturation. It's just the value. And you use one color. And it all works together because it's just one color. And then so that's one. And then the next one is analogous. And that's when you use colors that are just right up next to each other on the wheel. So I see this color scheme a lot.
It's present.
And it's just a nice color scheme. Like, it's not just because we love bi people. It's just a nice color scheme. And it's a nice color scheme because they just sit next to each other on the color wheel and it looks nice.
Yeah, they picked good colors for their flag. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, good for high pride. But yeah, we love a good pink, purple, blue color scheme, and it works well. It just looks nice because they're just sitting right next to each other on the wheel, and it's just nice and harmonious. So now we're reaching the point where when I was making this, I was like, wow, I'm a real one-trick pony. But also, this is the most popular shit you'll see in any art piece. Complementary.
Yeah.
It's using colors that are opposite on the wheel. And yeah, it's really easy because they usually, well, what do you mean usually? They are warm and cold.
Yep. You're always going to get one and the other.
Yeah, and they just contrast each other like one to one. So it's just nice.
Yeah.
And then as an extension of that, my apparent favorite, split complementary, which is essentially just doing complementary, but instead of doing the exact opposite, you're kind of doing the ones around it. And this is where I don't really like this color wheel because for some reason it has like 50 oranges on it.
Yeah.
But you get what I mean.
Why'd they do it like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey,
I
hey
didn't, I
guys.
was just like, what a neat color wheel. And then I was setting up this part and I was like, why are there 3 oranges?
They really
But that's okay.
they
You
had
get the
cheese
point.
on the brain when they were
Yeah.
making this.
But yeah, so you make this, it's got this little triangle bit, and you got your color, and you got your other 2 colors. Um, and that's not to say for any of these that it has to be like perfectly like, if you're doing if you're doing a complementary thing, it shouldn't be like 50-50. It's just, these are the 2 kind of color areas you're picking from, and you're going to use them with your big brain thing. Oh, I had samples and I like forgot to show one of them. That's very cool. But I was looking through my own drawings in prep for this to kind of see like what kind of color palettes do I usually use?
Mm-hmm.
And I found a single one. I found one that was kind of sort of analogous.
Okay.
And it's this one.
Oh yeah.
So it has this instances like the skin is, I don't know why this is such a crusty JPEG, but like the skin is kind of a bit more on the orange red
You could
side.
have chalked that up to the fact that
Yeah.
you're sharing your screen with me, and it's my fault.
It's so crusty on my end too. But, e- except for that and like these instances of green and yellow, everything on this image is in this range of like, hey, it's the bi it's the bi colors again. What do
Yeah.
you know? But since they all just like wind together so well, it all looks so nice together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
you do have that little
But
pop of green and yellow that's like in the camera, and then again repeated
yeah.
right on that little sock.
Yeah.
And again,
Which
that's
in
like,
hindsight shouldn't have put it on the sock. That's a weird choice, but like
oh, I liked it.
thank you. But
It makes
yeah,
the
if I
eye
were going
bounce back and forth.
very fully, it's a weird place to make the eye bounce to. That ankle. Like a Victorian maiden, I search the ankle. I don't know. But yeah, if I were being a bit more intentional, that would probably be like a blue.
Okay.
But
Okay. Well, sorry to
yeah,
sorry to
but
call
like
you out.
no,
Didn't mean to.
I think it's good to be able to critique choices because like I said, I'm not always thinking about these things. You don't always have to be thinking about these things, but if you finish a piece and you notice that some things work and some things don't, like there are reasons for that theoretically.
Mhm.
But yeah, so this was my single drawing where I could find like a kind of analogous color scheme. Because as it turns out, I love me some split complementary, but
Yeah.
I did find uh, an old friend was a good example
Oh.
of just straight complementary color.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because aside, again, if I had a little bit more thought, I wouldn't have really burnt these spots to turn them yellow. Kind of weird, but it's all blue. Armor's blue, the background's blue, and then this big old cape cloak thing is this burnt red, and it makes that nice
Yeah.
contrast. It frames the head nicely. It's just nice. It looks nice. I did a good job on
You
this
did a
one.
great job on that one. I
Thank
was like,
you.
get Karina to do Hornet. We have our thumbnail. Easy.
So, and then I found far more, but at least 3 examples of splits. So I'll go through them now because they are some of my favorite ones. Um, recent
Oh,
one.
there he is,
This friend,
Watley.
Watley. This
Handsome
is
Watley.
yeah. It works because it's a split palette. I because we have like the oranges and the yellows, and then the background has all the oranges and yellows, but then the big blue coat,
Yeah.
bit of blue in the eyes. that's the theme.
He'll work with
I feel
anyone.
like I use no green in my work. I love that. But yeah, love this lion, man. Oh, look, my camera looks better now. How
Oh, look at that.
exciting. And then I got my friend Bialzum on here. The one time I use green. So, the background is all blues, greens. There's a green tint to everything. So everything's kind of in that green thing.
It's because he's
And
got
then
the
we have
green
our,
eyes.
yeah, and then we have our spicy red.
Yeah.
And the spicy red's like extra spicy because it's against these two very like cool contrasting colors. And just to have a simpler one, because these are all very like full pieces, I found this one. I got a lot of compliments on the color palette of this one when I posted it, and I agreed. I thought it looked kind of nice in the end. It's because it's split complementary.
Yeah.
Everything is blue. This is blue, this jacket's blue, background's blue, pants are blue. And then we have the red of the skin. This jacket's a really dull red. And then we have this yellow.
Yeah.
The only thing that doesn't really fall under is the hair, which is it's on the edge. But yeah.
It's got some red and blue in there.
It's touching red.
It's touching it. Yeah.
But yeah, it works really nicely otherwise because everything is one of these. So yeah.
Yeah. Dang.
But yeah. And yeah, there are more complicated ones. Again, go seek out more resources on these things. I'm just not going to talk about them because I don't really ever use them, and they're really complicated. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, there's all manner of color
there's
palettes
so
you
many.
can do. There's just like color palette generators online too, where you just like pick a color and it'll just generate a bunch of different like other colors that go with it for different reasons.
But yeah, and if you do that, look at the palette. If even if you just do a piece and you finish it without really setting, like doing any type of forethought into the scheme or anything, and you think like, hey, this is really successful, this works super well, you should grab your little slightly better than this one that I found on Google color wheel and maybe see why it works so well. Cause like I don't usually analyze my drawings. And I was like, damn, you sure do love your split complementary palettes, Karina.
It looks good is the thing.
Yeah.
The thing about it is it looks good. So
yeah. So if you use a palette generator and it gives you like a little swath of colors, like think about why they look good. Because once you start knowing why they look good, then you can just do it yourself.
Yeah.
And be strong. I'm gonna backtrack a little because I forgot to talk about this, but in terms of saturation, should I go back to saturation? Saturation. It's the intensity of the color.
Yeah.
I found my 30-minute lad, and I just wanted to point out that if it weren't for the gray and the black areas, this piece wouldn't work.
Right.
Because when your colors are so intense, because these are all fully saturated colors, even the cyan is full saturation, your eye will get lost. It'll get tired. So the gray works because it gives you a place to rest.
Yeah, rest on Nando's inviting face.
Yeah. A recurring theme is I love making eyes the focal point of an image. Yeah. Faces and eyes. So always a good place to land your viewer, just on the face. Have there been any questions from chat?
Oh my gosh. That's my job.
Nathan.
Any questions, chat? Sorry, I've just been enjoying myself, but I am here to be the audience surrogate. We'll give them a sec to get some questions going on.
I see Ian saying, how do you feel about setting an image to grayscale to check the values? we'll get to that. I haven't been doing that at all so far, huh? But I guess while we're sitting here,
I just keep going back to your Jim Sona speed draw where you did that, and it like blew my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I do that on everything. And just as another disclaimer, there's two ways to do this, like on Photoshop, and they both work differently, and I don't know why. So you can either do a layer that's black or white with saturation as the layer style, and it'll just desaturate the whole thing. Or you can do an effect layer, or what is it? An adjustment layer, ha ha ha, where it's set to 0 saturation. And I don't know why they're different.
Oh, that's
Digital
interesting.
art be fun, but you can check both ways. I don't know, but in theory, this one is correct for this slide because none of these have differing value. So you can see it just turns into a gray blob. Same with the saturation, it's just gray. Yeah, it's slightly different for the other one. I don't know why, but like I check both sometimes because I'm just irritating like that. So but well, value is the next little talking point.
Okay.
We'll just go over highlights. Kind of. We can get to that. I didn't finish my talking points because I was busy and I was just making a lot of visual aids. So I do have a section and a visual aid that I needlessly made about like lighting, and I will get to color relativity so we can talk about highlights and shit.
Yeah. Someone asked about if there's a way to do this in Procreate. I don't use Procreate, but you use Procreate. So
you can set a layer to either saturation or color, make it black or white. It'll do this. So, where you change it to like multiply, overlay, everyone's favorite 2 layers. Just scroll down to the bottom, and I usually do color, but there should be saturation too. So if you just do either of those and set it to black or white, they kind of act the same way.
I feel like I read like a Twitter thread about why it's
Yeah,
different.
I remember that. I remember that. And I was like, okay. And then I didn't retain it at all. And I don't know who made it. And I didn't have time to find it before this, but like, it's different for a reason. And I couldn't tell you why, but you can check it both ways if you want to just be annoying. So
someone did explain it though.
Yeah, it's out there, but I couldn't find it immediately by Google searching it, so I gave up. And well, let's talk about the forbidden colors. The what? All colors are free game. No cowards. Be strong. And I think that kind of covers it. Oh, Citrus Death is talking about local value. I think that's what this is. Oh, this is local value.
Local value.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I'm question mark local value.
That's some advanced stuff.
Yeah, that's something I didn't come prepared to talk about today. We're just talking theoretically, strictly.
Yeah. Okay, but, so local value. Look it up if you want to learn more about it, because we're not gonna get into that.
Yeah,
today.
I'm sorry. I'm lying about being a genius, but
art is lying. I keep coming back to that. It's all lies. Lies
I
to
can't
the
teach
eyes.
you everything, but I could get you halfway there.
Yeah.
I can get you to where I stand, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think this reflects local value, but oh goodness, I don't want to think about that.
It's advanced.
So instead, let's just talk about regular value.
Yeah.
Where did I? Okay, I think. What was my visual aid for this? I think it's you. My dude.
It's our sweet boy.
And value to me is just if you remove the color from your piece, like just strip away that hue, turn it grayscale, does it still work the way you want it to?
Mm-hmm.
So even this is a really simple drawing. It's just a character on a background. But what if I had just colored it using colors I think are cute and it came out like this? It's it's okay.
It's
I like
okay.
this red. Yeah, this is a nice purple. But here's the thing.
It's all flat.
Yeah.
Flattens it out.
Yeah. So my rule of thumb is if you take away the line art, can you still differentiate foreground, midground, background? So this is just a foreground and a background, and the answer is no.
You get some hair,
you
get some
really,
stubble.
yeah, you can see that. You can see the eyes. The eyes are going to be like your focal point because they are the most different part value-wise. But other than that, he just gets kind of lost because there's just not a strong range of value. And yeah. So even when I'm like designing a character, I try to like use a range in terms of just like, does the clothing stand out from the skin?
Yeah.
You know? So this just has like a better range. If you take the light out, you can tell where he's standing. You can see it all. So yeah. And I just love using value. It's just so good. It's like I said, having a range of value, so sexy. We love to see it.
Yes.
And because if you don't have like a good range, your eye can get lost. You kind of don't know where to land on the image. It's same thing. You need to be able to guide the eye. So the bigger range you have, the more depth you can exhibit, the more contrast to be able to do these things. I've made a visual aid for this separate from this one because I don't know how to relax.
Whoa.
So here's a fully colored friend, and it's a nice.
Is that a cat boy?
It's a cat boy.
That's a cat boy. We
love a cat boy in the forest.
Y'all were afraid we were going to do a Karina stream and not have any cat boy as well.
You fools. I made this because I am haunted by this image I saw at my first time I ever tabled at a convention. I sat across, like in my tiny little baby table with my Yu-Gi-Oh fan art and my My Little Pony fan art and whatever else I had at the time, all 8 things I had printed. And I was sat across from this incredibly, like 2 tables, massive display, one of those like convention artists. I'm trying not to be mean. Where, you know, they do like photorealistic, like painting kind of drawings of anyone who's popular that year. Yeah. And I spent all weekend just staring vacantly at his table and his massive display of every like TV character who was popular in 2013.
Wow.
And there was this one image I couldn't look away from, and it was
Matt Smith the doctor at that point?
Probably, yeah.
Is that Matt Smith?
Yeah, I think Lauren helped me table at that convention, and she cosplayed as Matt Smith's doctor one day. I remember that. Yeah. And but there was this drawing of what was his name? Daryl from Walking Dead in a forest. And I just like couldn't get over it because the value range was so scrunched on that thing. Like it just looked flat. So I wanted to do something similar to that. And so here's my flat forest image.
Cat boy from Walking Dead.
The cat boy from Walking Dead is here to confuse you. So I'm doing a lot of things correct in this image, aren't I? I have my like cool colors in the background. This is like all contrasting. But like if you look at this, it's your eye still gets a little confused, doesn't it? Because it's so flat, because the range is so scrunched. So it just there's no real focal point. It's just, yeah. I mean, I Phil bucketed this really weirdly, so it looks weird when you take the lines off. But like, yeah, there's just not a lot of range here.
Yeah.
It's barely there. So Go away. I can fix this by maybe lightening up that background, really darkening up that foreground, and maybe even adding like the black and white to like really tap out that range. And now you know exactly where your eye should go.
Yeah.
Not only do you know where the foreground is, but you know like the focal point is surprise, surprise, it's the eye, because I love making the eyes the focal point of my drawings because I'm a one-trick pony. But yeah,
eyes
now you
good.
know.
The eyes have it.
Yeah. I'm sorry if you don't like eye contact, but it's like what I'm all about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
you don't have to make eye contact with real people. Make eye contact with drawings.
Yeah. So now you have a much deeper range of value.
Yeah.
So big.
Yeah.
And it guides the eye, because now you know. Now you know what I want you to look at. Your eye's not going to go to these trees in the background first. It's probably going to go right here.
Yeah. The trees in the background become the background.
Exactly. And so that's the fun of using value.
They just like they look farther away. Like, you know, when if you go back to the way it was before, like those trees could be literally like right next to the cat, or but like when you put those colors, it's like, oh, those trees are kind of far away. This like there's depth. All of a sudden there's depth.
Yeah. Like, and I mean, these still have like big chonky lines on them because I wasn't going to do any painting for this. I didn't feel like it.
No.
But like,
yeah,
if you want to really like accentuate this, change the line color. Yeah. Make this like a blue, and boom, it's like it's not even there.
Yeah, then it's like, wow, it's far away.
But
from those trees.
even with big chonky eyes, like, you know what the foreground is and you know what the background is.
Yeah.
So that's the easy way to communicate these things with your viewer. Gotcha. So
got him.
Yeah, so that's the fun of doing value. And it can be really difficult to figure out your color and your values at the same time, which, you know, the blessing of being like digital artists is that you can do them separately. I do them separately all the time.
Yeah.
So that's more of like a lighting stage rather than just like you have to do it on the fly. But you know, either way, if you're having trouble, you can do them one at a time. Wow. Here it is, another visual aid. I just can't stop.
It's just like everybody's getting fed on this stream. Like, we're just getting so much good Schmando content. If you learn something, fine, but even if you don't, like, you're just...
Karina can draw her bitches as a treat and make it into a learning experience.
Love it.
So
it's a good time.
Here's my little drawing. I want to figure out like how to color this. I have to figure out what my focal point is. Like, there's two characters, there's a hallway. Where do I want my viewer to look? Right. And then once I decide that, I can do a little value study to, like, you know, just lay out like, here's what the image is going to look like without color. So which one of these is which? Fuck. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So say I want the focal point to be Schmidt. So I want to kind of crush the range right here so that Nando's not standing out that much, you know, crush these so they're not here, and have all of the lights kind of focused right here, so that this is like where the highest contrast is. This is where your eye will go. And then, so here's my little value study. I just lay out the grays, and, you know, since I didn't finish these, I can literally just boop, there's the color, there's the image.
Yeah.
And this is where you're gonna look.
Yep.
So yeah. But alternatively, say I want Nando to be the focal point of this. Easy peasy. I just do another value study. Boom. Put all of the lights on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. and then just really do like the darks on Schmidt so that he kind of recedes a bit into the background. And boop, there. Here's your little finished image. Now he's the focal point. So yeah, if you're ever having trouble with like figuring out how you want to do the values of an image, just do the values by themselves and then use that as your reference for when you like put colors on it.
Yeah.
And then
and if you like put those two panels side by side in like a sequential, it looks like there's like a car with headlights driving past.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the use of value.
That's so cool. You can, yeah.
And as a little bonus thing, just
same
because I've
image
been
otherwise
yeah, all same image,
changes it up entirely.
And then as a little bonus, since I haven't really been touching that much on saturation, I did one last one since this was a fun exercise for me. I was just making these for fun at this point, but I was like, what if, boom.
Oh, snap. There's a gateway to hell over there.
Yeah. So now the hallway is the focal point, and your eye will go hallway because here's this big saturated red here. Yeah. You guide the eye using.
Ooh, we got a question.
Yes.
Where'd it go? Oh, are you putting the colors directly over the grays? Or are you flipping back and forth between color and gray layers?
For this one, yeah, it's just directly over the gray. So how I've done it is, here's my value study. This is just a normal layer, all the grays. I use a color layer to do a tint because I'm personally not a fan of shading with grays unless, again, stylistic choice. So for this, since it's kind of like I guess like an evening scene, I just tinted it blue. And then these are the original colors. So yeah.
So you put the colors over top on a multiply
as a
layer.
multiply layer.
Gotcha.
So this is a really simple way of doing it. If I wanted to really finish this piece, I'd probably labor more over the lighting, but for the sake of visual aids, this is all that was really needed.
Cool. Yeah, no, people are just interested in like the process.
Yeah. Like it's really easy. A lot of stuff that I do I have any?
Photoshop does make it like
yeah,
layer styles and the ability to like do adjustment stuff and adjustment layers is like, because really even if you have no idea what your plan is going in, you can just like fiddle with stuff until it looks right.
Gosh darn it, because I do for like my painting style stuff, that's basically how I do it. And do I have any PSDs on my heckin' computer? Maybe not. Good job, Karina.
It's okay.
Yeah, it makes a nice example. Why do I not have any? So weird. No. Yeah, I didn't come prepared with this shit, so.
You came prepared with everything else.
Yeah.
So
I came prepared with everything but that. It would just be nice to show, but maybe not. Why do I not have these things? Okay. So like for this,
there we go.
If you just take away my 1 million adjustment layers.
There you go. Value
That's
study.
all it is. It's yeah. So for these, I usually just start with straight up a grayscale, kind of almost value study-ish type thing, and then tint it, just layer on everything else that's not supposed to be there. Yeah, and then
that's what if he had a
color
stash.
Yeah. That's what if Venom knows. Is that what is? Yeah. And then I just layer everything else on top of it. So yeah. But yeah, if color hard, start with value. or
Yeah.
vice versa. You can do them in pieces because digital art lets us do that.
Yeah, it's really forgiving in that regard.
Yeah, so that
Play
cuz yeah,
with it.
yeah, cuz I'm just like I only started doing these kind of like painterly things like this cuz I was like I'm tired of drawing things and coloring them in. What if I just really labor over something in black and white? And I was like, oh, this looks nice. What if I
Yeah.
tried coloring it? How would I do that? Yeah, just mess around with stuff.
It's so
So
cool.
fun. But yeah, so like for these things, it just starts with like a value study, and then I just layer everything on top of it until it looks cool to me.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, where was I? Go away, Zoom. So yeah. And what else do I have on here? This is where my talking points stopped because it was 20 minutes before we had to start. So, but I go away. I did do a second like focal point exercise, which was actually my first focal point exercise, and then it kind of got out of hand. So I did a second one because I'm just
I
so
love how
irritating.
big that one Neopet is. It's like
He's just really large
you
for some
can't,
reason.
you wouldn't be able to tell looking at their little sprites because they're all the same size, but when you draw them all next to each other,
Yeah, discovering the canon heights of my own Neopets was a wonderful day. But yeah, so I wanted to draw my Neopets because I have impeccable taste. But so these are two of my Neopets. For the sake of simplicity, we'll call them Horse Girl and Hell Dog. So
Hell Dog's
I
so
wanted
big.
he's so big. I wanted to try doing one version where the focal point was Horse Girl, and then one version where the focal point was Hell Dog. But the problem with that, it turned out, is that Hell Dog has this big, stupid, glowing face,
Right.
which complicates things. So that added an extra challenge, and this turned out a lot more complicated than I wanted it to be. So
That's
but I
so
think I
relatable, Karina.
still got it, but it was harder. I did fail the first time. I had my roommate come in and like do these exercises with me so I could check if I did it right, and I did not do it right the first time, but I think I got it. So
Yeah.
where's your eye go?
Dust, it goes to the background. The one in
Yeah.
the background. Hell Dog.
Yeah.
Hell Dog.
This combination of value and color, baby. Since all of this is this big red,
Yeah, big
that's
red.
demanding your attention.
Yeah.
And then these really bright eyes are going to like bring you back there because they're just so bright. Meanwhile, even though she's technically in front of him, since she has this big blue shadow on her, like she actually kind of recedes a little bit.
Yeah,
So
all the
not your
stuff
first place your eye go. It
we
goes
talked
like
about. Yeah,
somewhere here.
cool
Yeah.
color recede, red, warm color pop, and then you've got the
Yeah.
values, and yeah.
Yeah. And then so this is the one I had trouble with, but
yeah, there she is.
yeah, because I wanted it to still look glowy, but without really just demanding all of the attention.
Right.
And a lot of that was just really darkening it and like making it a lot cooler in hopes of just pushing back those aggressive glowing eyes and kind of
And she's still
smushing that
being
value.
lit by those eyes, though.
Yeah,
the light source is
so
coming from behind her.
yeah, the real strong white shadow to kind of like frame her.
Yeah.
Even though she's still backlit, it's still like a lighter shadow than he has. And she has like that warm kind of glow on her, these like popping bits. And I think all of that together got my point across.
Yeah. And now you just have more good Neopets fan art. So.
Yeah. And I'm gonna do even more now that I'm done with this. But yeah, so that was my other little like focal point exercise for myself of like, how can I color the same image twice so that your eye goes to a different place each time?
Yeah.
And yeah, because that all depends on your color and value usage. So yeah.
Unrelated to the lesson, I do just enjoy the way you draw these like rock shapes, which again,
I love a good organic rock shape.
come
I don't have
back
to think about it.
Your Pokemon gym Sona again, just like those rocks exploding up off the ground. It's just like they really
Rocks
look like big old chunks.
Rocks are fun to draw.
Yeah.
Drawing is fun sometimes.
Drawing can be fun sometimes.
Whoa. But yeah, is I'll give it a quick break for
yeah, we're right
reference.
at the hour.
Oh God, there's another hour left. I only have like 2 more talking points. They're not even done.
We'll figure it out.
I can fart around. Yeah, I can fart around in the meantime.
Answer questions. I'm sure people have, maybe we can maybe we can learn about local value or whatever.
Yeah, I can Google local value.
Yeah, we can go on a Google
and try so hard to like relay that information to you. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I shouldn't say anything because I don't know what I'm talking about, but I feel like local value has to do with the fact that like certain colors like look darker. Like indigo looks darker than cyan.
Right.
But technically
it's
without without that hue, it's the same. Am I correct?
I think that's right. Yeah, that's why like with the one version they would just both be the same gray, but with the local value, it's like it's factoring in the fact
because
that,
like purple and blue look darker than yellow. Yellow looks so bright compared to everything, and that's why it's so fun to use at like 100% saturation, but technically it's like a mid value color.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
Yeah. I'm suffering with traditional painting. Do you have any tips? I feel like I'm speaking strictly in the mindset of digital because I've been doing digital for so long. It's all kind of the same stuff with traditional. Like it's all from the same school of thought. It's just traditional, you have to like mix paint.
Yeah, you have to know
that hard.
You have to know what pigments to mix.
Yeah.
And
I'm not gonna
it's also
pretend I'm not gonna pretend I'm like that versed in painting anymore. Like I paint sometimes, but it's usually just very like I don't care. I'm not going for a cohesive image type thing. But there's definitely like painters on YouTube that have probably done like a color theory video. Yes.
I just remember you really like, from what little I remember from painting, is like you really make use of those complementary colors to like add depth and and shading. Like if you want to make a shadow on something that's like red, you add some green to it. Like that.
Yeah.
But it's more complicated than that.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Do you tend to choose colors based more on mood you want to convey or what catches your eye? It's about 50-50. Like if I know there's a certain, personally speaking, if I know there's a certain mood I want to do, then naturally that's what I will lean towards. But I feel like most of the time, if I'm just like minding my own business, drawing stuff for fun, I will always do like desaturated red orange overlay and then blue shadow.
Yeah.
It just works for me. So
just make your life easier. Do what you like.
Yeah. But that's just I just like that combination
Yeah.
So that's just what I gravitate towards because I think it looks neat, unless I'm like specifically trying to do a certain like mood. But yeah, I definitely try to make things like more mood oriented if that's what my intention is.
Some people giving some painting advice book recs in the chat to help
Hell
Zappy
yeah.
out. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
supporting each other.
Yeah, thank you.
Helping
I
each other
wish
out.
I wish I had more information myself, but it's just been so long since I've done like any type of real technical painting.
Yeah.
I just do it for fun like a child now.
Just watch some Bob Ross.
Yeah. I think I own like
Happy Little Clouds.
3 different colors of paint. And I'm just like, that'll do. We got neon yellow, we got red, we got darker red, and we got indigo.
What else do you need?
Yeah.
You got it.
I do have neon green. It's the one time I use green. I just hate green. I'm sorry. Let me just close some of this stuff. You don't need you anymore.
What is the best color? Not your
I stand
favorite,
by maroon.
but what would win out of all
I
of
stand by maroon.
Maroon's good.
Because
it's the color
maroon can be warm. It can be cool. It's very mid-range in terms of value and saturation. So it looks okay next to like really bright things or really dark things. I just think it's good. I always have Nando wearing maroon because that way I can give him a light jacket and dark pants. I love maroon.
Maroon's good.
I love maroon in theory. Can you go over web computer colors versus printing?
Yes,
I don't
Karina,
know if I'm
you?
like I as someone who also makes books, I don't know if I'm qualified to do that. I don't know the oh, is the stream being kind of wonk?
Oh, is it? Is it back? Hello? F the stream.
Well, it'll take a sec. Yeah. Okay. But cool, fun. We love that.
Looks like it's back. Okay. Great. Thank you, Fios.
Yay!
I'm trying my best over here, you know?
Thank you, Nathan, for doing your best.
Got the fastest internet I could. It just, it's a windy day. Sometimes it knocks all of the Wi-Fi's.
Yeah, that's true.
It disrupts the 5G.
I was worried there'd be a lot of background noise on my end because there's just wind whipping all of this like heavy trash around in the parking lot behind my apartment. It's so weird.
There's just a thing on the side of my building that just like smacks against it whenever there's wind, and
I love that.
It sounds like there's like a giant trying to break in every time it's windy. It's great. It's really good. Really good for recording audio.
But yeah, to backtrack for whenever the stream went out, maroon best color. Good.
Yeah.
It's just good. We love a mid-range value, mid-range saturation. Looks good against lights and darks color. And in terms of like the printing color stuff, that's kind of a completely different thing and not kind of what I'm aiming to talk about today. I'm kind of aiming to talk a bit more about like color theory and not like the technicals of switching between like web and like, web color and print color, because that's kind of complicated and confusing.
Just know that like typically it's gonna look darker printed than it does on a screen. Yeah.
And there's certain colors that don't print.
Yeah. There's a little button. Like whenever you select a color in Color Picker, there's like, it tells you whether or not it's safe for web or whether it's safe for printing in Photoshop.
Yeah.
And I usually just ignore it.
As per usual, there's a lot of good resources about that online that would be less convoluted than me trying to figure it out live on stream. Because like I make books, but it's really just like I switch everything to CYMK and hope for the best. And if it looks kind of funky, then I just adjust it accordingly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's seems to work for you doing that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so far, so good.
You know, try that, and if you need more,
printing's just a really complicated beast because it depends a lot on like paper, printer, etc. So maybe another time when I know better.
Just making me think of the fact that like earlier this week my mom asked me if I had the ability to send a fax from my apartment, and I was like, what year do you think it is?
That's wild.
It's like, would email
what am
work?
I doing next? What am I like
could we do
who is out here who is out here needing a fax?
I don't have a phone line. I don't know.
Can you text a fax?
Yeah. Oh, good times. Sorry to put my mom on blast like that.
It's okay. I have a little time
turned
to
out
kill.
It turned out email was fine.
That's good.
As I suspected it would be.
So this is the point where I run out of talking points, so I'm going to be winging it. Please bear with me. But I would like to touch on color relativity because that's important.
Yeah.
Because colors change depending on the colors around it. Yeah. It reads differently because it's affected by like not just the hue, but also the value and the intensity of the color surrounding it. So different colors look different when placed next to different things. In fact, that's why you can change
this is such a pleasant
backdrop of Photoshop.
Yeah.
Because your workspace will look different against this bright gray than against the dark gray. I tend to keep it on medium gray because I'm cautious and boring.
I remember the light gray from like the old Photoshop, and then they switched it. They switched it on me, and I was like, "What is happening?"
But yeah, so this is another reason why it's important to think about your palette, I guess, because you know if you have this lovely little blush pink and you put it against another lovely little blush pink, there's not going to be any contrast there.
Yeah.
It's a matter of value. It's a matter of you know, the saturation, the hue. It's just these are all the same colors, but they just look weird next to each other. Like right here, these are two different blues, but because they're so close in saturation and in value, they just look so weird touching each other.
I run into this issue because I like blues and purples in my characters and also in my backgrounds, and then I'll go and look at it and be like, well, it's all flat. Time to add some intense shading to fix this.
Yeah, like that gets real rough. And I mean, it's like I said, that's why I love like dark reds and maroons so much. They just work. They work for like, even if I have like this middle skin tone, put a dark red around it. It'll look great.
What I like to do sometimes is like when I run into that issue, if like my foreground and background being too similar, is I'll do the color balance adjustment, and just like raise the blue of one of either the foreground or background, and like raise the yellow of the other one, and that just like,
well, you can eyeball it. It's just, you know, but yeah,
those adjustment sliders are helpful.
Yeah, but it's also just like, you know, a white against a dark background is going to be way more intense than a white against a light background.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. This is a very intense red because it's against this like blue background, which is kind of complementary. So it's kind of vibing a bit harder than this one over here.
Yeah.
Because that's just sitting on a different red. So yeah.
Yeah, warm against warm versus warm against cool.
But yeah, so depending on like how sparingly, like how much of a color you use and what colors surround it, that can really intensify the color. And this is also where I stopped making visual aids. So we're just going to go back to Nando
Let's just look at him.
because we're going to talk about the usage of black and white, because black and white are the most intense colors. We just kind of forget that because we're so used to using it as our like how you say, our starting point and our ending point.
Yeah.
You know, we're so accustomed to drawing on white paper. So when we open a document on like Photoshop or whatever program you use, it's white because that's how paper is. But, you know, when you're working from white, um, you know, it's harder to like, how you say, fuck. But yeah, if you really strip away the white from everything, that's when you can really use white at its full potential.
Right. Like
So
I know
say,
whenever I watch my brother do his like digital painting stuff, he usually has his like canvas set to like sort of a neutral gray color so he can
yeah,
add highlights and shadows.
yeah. Like sometimes when I do those like painty, value study kind of painting stuff, I'll start from a gray, or I'll like switch over to a gray canvas so that I can see like where I should add in like the lights and even like the high whites.
Yeah. And that was like a game
So
changer for me back when I was working in traditional media. Just like step one, take your charcoal and just like rub it all over the paper before
yeah.
you even start doing anything
Yeah, because
else.
like paper is white because it's easiest to like layer on top of it, and when we do outlines, they're black because you know that way it's just like a hard, like it's the darkest color.
Yeah.
It's we just know that's where the edge is because there's no other thing that could be like darker than that. Um, but say for example, I wanted to give him those beautiful white highlights.
Mm-hmm.
It looks nice because it's cutting into that brown, but like I can just zoom in. Let me get closer to you, buddy. Not that close.
Okay, back up.
Yeah. But
Let's not get ahead
it
of ourselves.
yeah, like it looks nice, but since the whole eye is white,
Doesn't
it
pop.
just doesn't pop that much.
Yeah.
So if we have a little bit more color
Yeah.
over it,
Yeah.
then it pops more.
Look at that.
So even when I'm just drawing like characters on a plain background, I do like to put like a tint over the whole thing of either just like a really, really light, like orange or yellow or blue,
Yeah.
just to kind of kill the pure white in the image. And
That's
then that
smart.
way, if I want to add these like little white highlights, because I think adding pure white highlights to the eyes makes them look so lively and wet, then you know they just already stand out because you've removed the pure white from an image.
Yeah.
But you know, and then if where is it, if I want to make them even livelier,
Yeah.
ooh, so alive your eyes, my dude. But yeah, so if you surround it by just all dark colors, then boom, the white really slaps and we love to see it.
We do. We sure do.
I just love white highlights on eyes when it's
Yeah.
like otherwise really dark. I think I learned that from Gurren Lagann. I was like, it looks so good.
Yeah, all those shots in the caves, but they're
Yeah.
still like very bright,
It
wide
just
eyed.
looks so alive.
Yeah.
But and say we want to do the inverse. We want to like uh make black really like add like make black deeper.
Mm-hmm.
So let's crush this black. Let's just get rid of it. There's no more pure black in this image. And then, yeah.
Ooh.
So even though we know, like,
Little black pools.
we know that this blue is black because it's the outline. So
Right.
it's the darkest color on the image. So we're just like, oh, relatively, this is black. So this glasses frame, since everything is blue, this must be black because that's just how it is. And then you add the black and boom.
We're just like,
now it's like a deep dark black. Super black.
Another studio trigger. Like, yeah, they do that with like making the outlines a color, but then like having something be darker than the outline.
Yeah.
It's just a cool effect. And now you know why it works.
Yeah. Because once you start fucking with the relativity of your colors, because like if you take this out, this reads fine. It's very stylized, but like you're just like, this isn't literally blue. Like that's just the style of the drawing. These frames are black, but then you can add more black and boom, it's deep.
Poetic.
Yeah, it's like a darker black. He's got scary, deep abyss eyes.
Scary Dando.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great if you got like your scary black-eyed demon OCs and you want to just make them look extra spoopy. Just crush the blacks. Just, heighten everything else so that it's not quite black. And then you can put the darkest black in the eyes and it's going to look scary. But yeah, so that's kind of like what I mean by relativity of color or whatever it is I said. Because once you start pushing and pulling, you can heighten certain colors, etc. It's kind of like why this works, because everything else is so like dark and desaturated that when you get this, even though it isn't like that much brighter than the rest of the image, damn, according to relative value, it's actually a little darker.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's because it's like so intensely saturated compared to like everything else, like nothing else. I guess I forgot to color in those lights, just pretend you don't see them. But like everything else is so desaturated and like almost gray that this is the thing that stands out.
I just want to know what's over there. Did they open a portal to hell, Karina? Did Schmando open a portal to hell?
Don't worry about it.
I'm worried about it.
Don't be. But yeah, what else do I have on my little talking points?
You want to talk about like lighting, like light sources? Is that something?
I can. I did want to touch on something briefly that I didn't make a visual aid for, but it also I just stuck it in here with like nothing.
Sure.
And it's about the color white, and this is just a little side note. We're gonna do another eye because I just love drawing like eyes.
Yeah.
Do I want to color this in?
Good eye.
Fine. I'll I'll do a little I'll do a little on the spot. You're welcome. Yeah. You're welcome, audience.
Look at this little process.
Yeah.
You have to make the sounds while you draw the eye, or else it's
This is the sounds I make every time I draw anything. You just don't normally see that. I'll just do it's my eye.
It's my eye, and I do what I want.
So I just wanted to add in shading the color white.
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh God. Hello. Since it's just like since it's white, it completely changes like how the white the pure white reads, depending on what kind of undertone you use when shading it.
Mm-hmm.
My rule of thumb is if you want your white to look really, really bright and white, use blue.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I so zoomed out?
Get in there. Come over here.
Don't be shy.
Come look at my eye.
So yeah, if you want like a real bright white, I usually go with blue shading.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you use like this, it looks different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, when it comes to like dark gray reading as black or like what, like really bright gray reading as white, I like to use me a blue.
Use a blue.
I just think it like it looks the best. So if you do that, and then you do is this even, this is a completely neutral color. Yeah, this is, so here's like my gray, like no undertone to this shaded versus that. I just think it looks nicer.
Looks nicer, yeah.
Yeah, it makes it look brighter. And then if you just really pop up that blue, it looks really white. And then the white actually looks really bright.
Yeah, it like makes the white, it tricks it into seeming warmer, because like you didn't add any hue to that white, but like by putting it next to something cool, it just becomes warmer.
Yeah. That was just a side note that I wanted to add in and then didn't have anywhere to add it in, so I added it in now. You're welcome.
Great. Yeah.
Should I touch on lighting? I might as well, since I'm here. And I apparently made a visual aid for it, even though I didn't have anywhere to use it, because I'm just so smart.
Citrus Death makes a good point. Blue looks really natural because it implies the blue bounce light of the sky.
Yeah.
On a bright sunny day.
Yes. It's just a good thing to have.
Yeah.
We love it. I learned it once in like middle school in my art class from my art teacher, because she was just like, shade the white with blue instead of gray. It'll look better. And I was like, she was right. And then I just did it forever.
Don't question it. They're
Thank you,
right.
Miss Gilmore.
Yeah.
Anyway, I made this to show. Yeah, this one's for you. Guess who watched the premiere dub last week? It's also just good. You should watch it.
I need to watch it. We all need to. We all need to watch different Studio Trigger stuff. Yeah. Julia's never seen Gurren Lagann. You've never seen Kill La Kill.
Yeah, that's true.
I've never seen Promare. We need to watch them all.
Yeah, we gotta collect them all. But there's also just a lot of like wild lighting in Promare, so I was like, fuck it, let's draw Leo. So I just want to point out that I think why I made this initially was to show like complementary like lighting, just as like a kind of a supplementary, not you, get out of here. Just to kind of like build upon this.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's build.
Because I was actually doing a bit of an experiment where I was like, yeah, it looks rad, but if you do the opposite, it still looks rad, but it looks a little unnatural in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's very staged to be in a place where like the ambience and your shadows would be red, but the light source would be blue. I couldn't find like a good example of that. So I was just like, okay, this is why I made this drawing. And then it just kind of got out of
the movie Drive does that, I feel
like. I'm not saying it's like impossible. I'm just like, oh, it's a very stylized thing, but it still looks nice.
It's like if you've done that, it's because you're going for a specific look. Whereas if you go the other way, it's like it's just like natural, more natural.
Because it kind of goes back to cools recede, warms pop.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the time it's just really easy to use cool colors as your like shadow color because it'll push everything back, and then everything that's lit will just naturally come forward, more or less.
Yeah.
Whereas if your shadows are warm, I feel like it gets kind of weird.
It's like implying that something is making it red.
Yeah.
Like there's like some
Yeah.
ambient light source that's making it red.
Like it'd be weird if you went outside and this happened.
Yeah.
But if you did in like a studio, like that's fine. But yeah, so I think that's why I initially made this drawing, and then I just started making like color schemes.
Oh.
But typically what I do when I like
Moon is so sweet. Oh, sleepy baby Moon. It's okay, bud.
Typically what I do, and this isn't a good way to show it, when I like do a lighting scheme.
Oh yeah, that was California for a while.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Again, a bit of an outlier.
Blade Runner.
A bit of a stylistic choice from nature. Yeah. So, yeah.
But it did look unnatural.
Yeah, this this lighting scheme is you checking your phone outside in California.
Yeah. Yeah, it's your phone. Yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah. Where the white light is hitting you, but everything else.
Blue light from your phone coming out.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So
such times.
Why are these out of order? I'm so smart.
You're a genius.
So yeah, haven't you heard?
Your shirt says so. Shirts can never lie.
Yeah. I thought I got rid of this shirt, but then I found it in my closet, like in a box this week. And I was like, wow, I never stop believing in myself. Let's go. So usually when I do a lighting scheme, I choose the ambient light, the light source, and then your shadows. So those are my 3 colors.
Mm-hmm.
So for this like daytime scheme, we're going to have an ambient light, which really is like nothing. I think it's like a medium, almost gray, like maybe it's got a little bit of warmth to it, but like essentially it's just nothing. The sun is like kind of like a white light, and like it's not warm light. So what's the sun? But
yeah, it's as close to like a pure white when it's like a sunny day, because it's
like direct sunlight
it's
just white light, so there's not going to be a lot of tinting there. So, and then the shadows are just blue, because that's kind of just naturally what it's going to be when you're outside. Leo outside in direct sunlight. And then for nighttime, your ambience is going to be like really blue and dark. And then the light itself will just kind of be another blue.
Yeah. Blue on blue.
Yeah. And I was trying to do some warm ones. So I felt like these read a bit more naturally than the contrasting one. These are more analogous, if we can throw it back.
Yeah, remember from earlier class? Were you paying attention?
We brought it back.
So
this is my lighting scheme, just fucking red, I guess, and it is just red. The ambience is just red, and then we got some yellow light. So you're just getting the highlights are just like,
this is out in California during the fires, and you're standing kind of close to the fire.
Yeah, and you're not on your phone.
And you're not on your phone.
So, yeah. So I thought that looked nice for like a red shadow, red.
Yeah.
It looks very dangerous, very high danger situation, whatever this is. Or you're just in a really red room.
Yeah.
Or you're in my bedroom around 11 a.m. when the sun directly hits all the red blankets on my bed.
Oh.
And then this one is my desert theme.
Yeah.
Goodness, why have I done any of this?
Because you don't,
because this is all, it's got this yellow ambience and then this very burnt orange shadow. And yeah, I thought that one looked really nice. I was really happy with this one. I say that it's a desert because if you have this really harsh sunlight hitting the sand, it'll bounce back kind of warm, I assume.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to have those, the lack of blue shadows just like dries everything out.
Yeah. Plus it just looks hot.
Yeah.
You choose this color scheme and you don't have any choice but to set your story in a desert.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So these were some of my lighting things.
Yeah, that's cool. It's like, you know, think about the setting when you're shading because it'll impact that.
Yeah.
I saw sorry. I saw someone just asked, and this isn't really like the topic, but if you wanted to, someone just like thought the way you drew the fire in that like first image was cool. If you like want to explain how you did that.
That's a good question. How did I do this? I think it's just like, overlay layers.
You have this like flame shape, and then you have sort of a light inside of it, and then like not a shadow, but like a darker red on the underside.
I don't really have a rhyme or reason as to why I did that. The flame is pink because they're pink in Promare, and I think it's pretty.
Yeah.
The center part, fire is white at the center. You know, it goes like white, light blue, because that's like a really harsh, warm blue.
Yeah.
In fact, like a really cyan kind of blue. And then it goes to like, you know, yellow, orange, red.
Yeah.
And
then you have that like just sort of the light coming off of it.
Yeah. Right. And that's just like an overlay. I think that's the same color as everything else.
Again, back to your Jim Sona drawing. The way you did fire in that was rad.
Fire just fun draw.
Yeah. And again, you can look at like the way they do fire in Promare and like other sort of like there are lots of cool different ways to stylize fire.
If I had just way more time this week, I thought about doing a bit of like a breakdown of like the color palette of Promare because it's so vibrant, but it also works super well. But it's because they're so good at what they do.
They're able to
because like
be very high pink, saturation, multiple colors.
Like high saturation pink cyan fire isn't technically like very bright. It's just I do have like an image as my background.
There he is.
It works so well. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the scenes where they have this fire are usually set against like this really dark color scheme of like this purple.
Yeah.
So that's probably why the purple matches with the pink. So it all kind of goes together because they're analogous. But then there's orange bits and there's this really strong cyan bit. And sometimes the pink gets really warm. So those will cause a lot of contrast. I didn't think that hard about it because I ended up making a million visual aids.
No, it's cool though. Like people see elements of those and are just like, how you do that? How?
Cool. But yeah.
Also, congrats on having nothing like a real nice, clean desktop.
Well, this is my second monitor.
Well, it doesn't help me. I'm terrified of people seeing how disorganized my desktop is anytime.
If I put any files on this, I'll just get confused. I'll forget that they're there. Also,
files all over the place.
If my displays ever disconnect, then it's all going to end up on this screen. Right. It's going to be ugly. And I don't want that. So would snow be more of a blue? Yes. Unless you want it to look dirty. If you want like some serene country snow, yeah, because the shadow will be from the sky, which is blue. But if you're in New York and everything's dirty, you can shade it with whatever undertone you want.
That New York yellow snow, baby.
Yeah, yum yum.
Full of nutrients. Don't eat. Don't do it.
Okay. Can you show how you would go about picking those 3 colors? I can't do that because I feel like this was kind of a confusing thing because I didn't plan this far ahead.
Aw.
But I can do that from scratch, so I can be a bit more clear about it.
Yeah.
Let's. Okay, we're just gonna do this.
Oh, it's that bunny that's welcoming you to your new home.
Yeah. So
you live here now.
Yeah. So depending on the light sources in your new home, this rabbit's gonna look all sorts of weird. So
But it's not creepy.
Yeah. Usually when I say an ambient light, strictly in terms of digital, I'm usually thinking an overlay, or actually let me color this in a little bit. Let's just say that we're in a gray room and that the rabbit is, why did I pick the lightest gray in the world? Let's make this that yellow.
Bun. Yellow bun.
Yeah. Yellow like the New York snow, fresh on the ground. It's born that way, baby. He has beautiful blue eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so okay, when I say ambient light, I usually mean either like an overlay layer where it'll just kind of like affect the color. So let's say we've got ourselves a bit of a warm ambient. We're underground now. We're in our new home. I feel like that's kind of light. So this will be like our ambient light. And but okay. And then we need a shadow. We're just going to go with a regular cool shadow. Maybe there's no like weird stuff going on right now. So this is just a multiply layer. We got our little shadow. And what should our light source color be, Nathan?
How about green?
Okay. No, my enemy.
Yeah, let's do it. This is a weird cave with a green glowing rock formation inside. Some like nucleized, some radioactive rocks.
I'm gonna go with a bit of a slightly warm green.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's say this is our rock up here in this corner.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like whatever. And then
look at our new house.
Yeah. Are you so excited to be here?
Excited to live here with us? It works great.
Yeah. And then if I want, so smart of me to not leave a single white. I can just add a deeper shadow in here. Oh, nope. Guess that wrong. So that's kind of what I mean. Our light is green. It just has like a regular ambient. I mean, I just default warm because I like warm colors, but it can be whatever.
Yeah.
Our shadow is blue. Yeah. So we can do the same thing and do like something spooky. We can do that horrible California vibe.
Yeah.
And then do like a yellow light.
Oh he's the one who set the fires, isn't he?
Yeah, the fires are down here.
Looking at his work.
Yeah. And then maybe he even has a bit of a cool shadow, so that'll be a bit of a purple.
Yeah.
I sure wish I had a reference point for how dark my multiply layers are, but that's okay.
I think for our purposes, this is just great.
That's a bit too purple, honestly, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, and you can adjust it.
Yeah, you can
select, you can go to
I love digital art.
Yeah,
I can
it's just like there's so
desaturate this a little bit.
There's so many ways to fix what you've done.
It's so forgiving for me.
You can do hue saturation, you can do color balance, you can do adjustment layers. You can just keep adding more layers.
Yeah.
Just there's a lot of push and pull. Like the more you get into it, the more you realize that you can nothing you put down when you're working digitally has to stay the way it is. You can always go back and be you can even add your shading layers and then go back and realize that the original colors you put down for the flats don't work anymore, so you adjust those. You like the way the shading and highlights look, but they don't work anymore with the flats you chose, so you go back in and adjust those, and that's okay. Yeah. That's all part of the process.
We love digital art.
It lets idiots like us, geniuses like us.
Who's winning now?
Yeah.
Traditional art.
Yeah. Oh, look at this one. Yeah.
So this has a red light, but otherwise blue ambience, blue shadow.
I'm just so glad, Karina, you made all these slides, because it's going to be so easy to pick a thumbnail for this image. I realize I didn't go with the thumbnail I said was going to be the thumbnail when I set the animals.
I already forgot. What was the thumbnail?
It was like it was like one of my weird hybrid animals, I think.
And we can be, that's a bit too dark.
I forgot to put the Among Us guy in the thumbnail for the most recent Drawfee.
We always forget the Among Us guy.
I remembered him in the Pokemon horrible Julia butthole, not butthole, but skull monster. No hole, just booty.
But yeah, just so when you want to do a little lighting scheme, just pick the color of your light, the color of the setting, etc., and then what the shadow color is going to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that makes sense. That's how I do it.
I think it's good. You can
have a whole variety.
Terrifying. Really changes.
Ominous.
Yeah.
And then whatever this is, it's just, I don't know what's glowing in this image, but
he's just watching the sunset. It's just a lovely sunset. He's up on top of the mountain watching the sunset.
But yeah, so that's a bit of a really hastily done crash course in lighting. I'm officially at the end of my talking points, so I can just take questions now.
I love it when chat responds to something I say with just Nathan. Yeah. Any cues? Any cues for the last little 10 minutes we got? Open it up. Open it up to the floor.
I did my best. I hope it helps.
It helped me.
I like color. I just think it's neat.
That's what you get when you say things like all cheek, no hole. When you have to talk for 2 hours straight, sometimes
it just,
you do some crimes. in there.
It just isn't working.
Sometimes your brain runs out of good things to say and says some bad ones.
Is it just me, or did we circle all the way back to the bi flag? It always comes back to the bi flag. It's just a good color scheme.
Yeah. A radical
There are so many
agenda.
times when I just use like the like blue, purple, pink, because I think it's a neat color scheme, and people are like, is this the bi flag? Is this character bi? And I'm just like, I mean, yeah, sure, but it also just looks nice.
Yeah.
Bi lighting is so pretty. It's nature.
They pick good colors for their flag.
Yeah.
Congrats. Oh, Punch Frog, sorry about your Photoshop.
Huh?
Punch Frog says they've been drawing along this whole time and the Photoshop just crashed, so.
No. One fear.
Ooh, are there any color schemes you can't stand?
I mean, this is completely...
That's subjective, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. Are there? I will say that unpopular opinion of mine, I don't like red-green color schemes. They're really effective, but I'm just not a fan. I guess it depends on the red and the green you use, but I feel like direct red-green color scheme, just oof.
Christmas.
Too crimbus.
Crimbus. What if you want the crimbus?
In one of the videos I was using to kind of like prepare for this, a lot of the samples he showed were red-green, and I'm just like, oh no, I'm truly out here being a blue-orange bitch. Where are my people?
That's what that hue
I tried to
saturation
make
slider's
red-green
for.
work so hard. I also did a red-green piece recently, and I actually prepared it for this and then didn't want to talk about it. But my Hanzo was a very, I feel like
Christmas
this
Hanzo.
kind of red-green, like when done correctly, it looks really good, but I don't think I did this as correctly as I could have. And
that's okay.
I feel like part of it is I use too much red. Like if the background weren't red, maybe it would like work better, but I don't know. I kind of wasn't sure what to make of this piece, but I wanted to step out of my comfort zone, so I did this like really red-green piece, and it's not that it doesn't read well, it just, I don't know. I think it's just the colors are really imbalanced and really strong.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too pleased with it, but yeah.
It's interesting.
So I do use green sometimes. I'm just not a fan. I do struggle with it, I guess, apparently. But yeah.
He's about to say a word that has the th sound in it. He's saying thistle. Is that a thistle you have there?
Yeah. Hanzo's famous voice line. Is that a thistle?
Is that a thistle?
But yeah, I was trying really hard to embrace red-green color scheme, but I don't think I was successful this time, or like as successful as I wanted to be. There's some really like cool
still value
pieces.
in trying it.
Yeah, because there's some really cool pieces I've seen with this color scheme, but I was just like, it's so hard.
Yeah.
I'm so stupid. I can't use red and green.
You really do run the risk of going Christmas.
Yeah.
Which like, you know, this is a festive, save this for next December.
Yeah. Come next December, I'll have this piece fixed and it'll be my Christmas piece.
You know, just adjust the hand a little bit. He's holding a big sack over his back. He's brought some presents for all the good boys and girls in Overwatch.
But yeah, I wonder if part of it is just that the red shouldn't be the predominant color. That was my other thought.
Yeah.
Since it's so it's such a demanding color. Yeah. That maybe if the majority of the image was green and instead of like the green being the pop, the red was the pop, if that would look cool. Experiments for another day. I don't feel like doing it now.
Yeah, I don't have to do it right now. We're almost done.
I won't. Yeah, but yeah. I thought I was onto something with this piece, and then I was kind of lukewarm about it by the time I finished.
That's gonna happen. Yeah. That's relatable.
I just don't use a lot of green. So I guess my answer is just I don't like green. What was the question? I don't know. But if it's green, I'm not a fan, apparently. Do you have any tips for coloring line art? Like the act of doing it or how to choose a color? Because that's something you got to think about. I gave you the tools, kind of, sort of, not really, but like it just depends on what your intention is.
I do a clipping mask.
Yeah.
And I just sort of go in there and trace over the lines that I want to have be different colors. That's how I do it.
Get out of here, you little creepy boy.
I don't know.
Where's the line art for this?
There he is.
There's the line art for that. Yeah, I just do an alpha lock.
That also works.
I alpha lock in, and then I just go boop, boop, boop.
There it is.
I love me a good alpha lock.
That works too. I like the clipping masks because I sometimes will want like multiple different colors for the lines, and so I'll make each color a different layer.
Ooh. I don't think I even know how to use masks. I'm not that clever, actually, when it comes to my tools.
Oh,
I just love
clipping
alpha
mask
lock.
is just you just put a layer on top of the layer and make it a clipping mask, and then anything you draw on that layer only shows up on the layer below. I also do that with a lot of my shadings because I just like don't want to be bothered.
I feel like it's kind of interchangeable. I'm just like, that's basically what alpha locks
basically
are.
the same thing.
Just different.
It's just you can have multiple clipping layers.
I mean, I guess in terms of choosing colors for your line art, do I have anything good? Do I have any Promare fan art on my computer?
Promare or what's that movie? Summer Wars has some real cool colored line art.
Okay, I think for a lot of my stuff, I just color pick it from Promare itself, but I guess it just depends on like what your intention is. Yeah. This isn't a good example.
If you go to the hair on the blonde boy,
yeah,
like it softens it up.
Oh, this is also in CYMK, so it looks like garbage. So
but like if that was just like a solid black line, it would not look as like soft and
that's why Leo looks so like his hair looks so soft and light. It's because they picked that color super well.
Yeah.
What is this? Why do it looks like Garbo. Thank you. Nope. Okay. This is just what I have on hand.
It doesn't look like Garbo. It looks good.
The colors are smushed because it's in CYMK.
Still wouldn't have noticed if you hadn't said anything, and still don't super know what you're talking about, but I trust you.
Yeah, I just because I'm like, I don't think the line art on the thing is black on his suit, but I don't know. I don't know how to explain picking colors.
Sometimes.
Why did I put this in CYMK? Because it's for a print. I don't know where the original is.
I can say my like dumb guy way of picking colors for line art is literally just like select. I ink everything in black first, and then I'll select like the flat, and then just go into the color picker and sort of move it down and to the right, and then put that over and then mess around.
Yeah, like I don't usually do my colored line art as I'm doing the piece. Mm-hmm. I just do it afterwards because I'm smart and so good at my job. But yeah, I think that's why like Leo's color palette is just like so pleasing to the eye, is because he wears like this black leather little suit, but every other color in his palette is just so gentle and soft. Yeah. And his hair especially is just so bright, and I'm pretty sure these are all directly picked from the movie palette. So yeah, and it has like this very gentle, almost blue outline. So everything's just so gentle to kind of contrast this harsh black. But yeah, I don't have a better answer for that. I hope that answered something question.
I think like yeah, like the big takeaway is just like there isn't like a hard and fast rule, but like there are
Yeah.
sort of things.
This is why you learn your color rules so you can start figuring it out.
Yeah, you sort of figure
Promare is a
out.
really complicated color palette, so I can't quite explain it. I didn't choose most of these colors.
Yeah, this is
but
like a studio of like people who know what they're doing so
yeah.
well that they can just like make these bold choices
Yeah.
and it works.
But I will say that from color picking Promare, it has inspired me to try weird choices myself. So
Yeah,
when in doubt, just use reference and then figure it out.
Yeah, like pick a show or movie or piece of art that has a color palette that you really like and see if it works with your piece.
Yeah.
I've been really digging Hilda's color palette.
Yeah.
It's just
But
so
yeah,
like
if
pleasant and dreamlike.
you don't have to like go at every single thing you draw with full intention. This is my color palette. This is like my value study or everything. But
Right.
like if something works by chance, like you should take note of why and then learn why, etc. And yeah, and I love working with color. It's so fun. It is.
This is the way you said it. It's so fun.
It's my favorite part because it's when everything comes together.
It's my favorite part of watching your speed draws, I'll tell you.
I just noticed that I finally reached the point in the day where I'm the focal point of my camera.
Yay,
get out of here,
we did it. Wow.
I have I have 4 bright white lights hitting me. I guess I can turn this one warm. But yeah, that was part of the demonstration.
Yeah, it was a full, you got to, if you completely ignored the screen and just were looking at Karina's little webcam, you got to see color palette change in real time, the focal point of the composition of Karina's webcam change.
I mean, just to wrap up lighting, my ambient of my room is kind of like a dark gray right now. But warm light, white lights. Boom, I'm blown out like crazy. So yeah. And now I think we're up.
Yeah, that's time. We've done it.
Yeah, I hope this has been useful or enlightening to anyone. Yeah.
It has been for me. So
yeah, I'm glad.
And again, everybody, you know, you just, at the very least, you got to look at some cool schmandos. Cool.
Thank
and
you for yet another excuse to draw schmandos.
Yeah, if every Karina draw class is just more schmandos, it's just like, you know, teach us about anything.
It's visual aids. It helps.
It helps. It helps me.
Genius.
Helps my mood. Just seeing them. Well, great. Thank you all, everyone watching live, for your support on Patreon. We really do appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
I really look forward to these monthly draw class streams. I think that was a fun reward, tier reward, and I'm glad we're doing them. And I think there's no shortage of like stuff that I feel like I can learn from y'all. So I'm always excited to do that.
I look forward. I hope people start messing around with colors, and feel free to post it in the draw class chat.
Yeah, I'm excited to take a look.
I lurk around.
Yeah, we peek. We take little peeks. And if you're watching the VOD, hope you enjoyed it. consider supporting us on Patreon so you can watch live. And yeah, we're sorry.
Sorry.
Have a great weekend.